The KXAN News Podcast is sponsored by Shelf Genie. Breaking news from KXAN News.
County District Attorney's Office has dismissed the domestic violence case against Chris Beard. Good evening to you. I'm Jennifer Sanders.
And I'm Daniel Marin. The former University of Texas head basketball coach lost his job in January. Our Roger Wallace joins us now with why the DA has dropped those charges.
Daniel Garza said that after careful and thorough review of the evidence, recent public statements, and considering Miss True's wishes, that's Beard's fiance Randy True, who initially filed the claim, the DA's office determined that the felony offense cannot be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Beard was arrested on December 12th after he was accused of strangling True. On December 23rd, she then made a statement through attorneys that Beard did not assault her, but was instead using self-defense in a physical struggle. Beard was suspended by UT at the time of the arrest and then fired on January 5th. In the statement from UT's Legal Affairs Director Jim Davis, he wrote to Beard's attorney that he engaged in, quote, unacceptable behavior that makes him unfit to serve as head coach at our university. Rodney Terry, of course, has been leading the Longhorns as interim head coach since December. The Longhorns currently ranked 6th in the nation and tied for first place in the Big 12. This also could lead to a quicker return to coaching for Chris Beard after the charges have been dropped. Daniel?
All right, Roger, thank you very much. Our other big story this afternoon, Spencer Cronk is out as Austin city manager after frustrations at how the city handled this month's ice storm.
And KXAN's Grace Reader spoke to council members and the former city manager about their decision today and what comes next.
Wednesday, Spencer Cronk sat on the dais at City Hall for the final time as city manager after council voted to part ways with him. Cronk will get severance pay, including his base salary and COBRA payouts. Altogether, he'll get roughly $463,000.
It's just time and time again where we have not managed to execute in ways that reflect our values and deliver on our basic services.
The thing I want to make sure that is known about my tenure is we have gone through unprecedented events over and over and over. It started with the Austin bomber in 2018, the Colorado River flooding, and then going through a global pandemic, and now these two recent winter ice events. These are unprecedented. And the way in which our community can ensure that we're getting through these stronger is something that I know that this community will be tackling in the future.
Mayor Kirk Watson first brought up Cronk's job performance after this month's ice storm. Jesus Garza will serve as interim starting Thursday. He was the city manager in the early 90s and late 2000s under Mayor Kirk Watson. He also ran a political action campaign that backed Watson last year.
A lot of that happened in executive session, but I'm very excited to be able to work with Jesus and see him lead during this interim period as we search for a permanent city manager.
Grace Reader, KXAN News.
And council member Natasha Harper Madison was the only council member to vote against firing him. She said she made that decision because it wouldn't solve the systemic issues within our city government or our collective response to the recent winter storm.
Also at City Hall today, actually going in depth, Spencer Cronk has been the second highest paid employee in Austin. Looking back in December 2017, he was hired as a city manager with a starting salary of $325,000.
And in December of 2018, City Council approved a raise that increased his base salary to $350,000. Then this past December, just a few months ago, Cronk received a $38,000 raise, bringing his base salary to $388,000.
Also out of City Hall, City Council voted to approve a one-year extension with the Austin Police Association. This comes after Spencer Cronk ironed out a 4-year agreement with the union. We'll go in depth on what this means for the department coming up at 6.
First warning weather with meteorologist Kristen Curry.
I'm in for Chief Meteorologist David Yeomans tonight, and I'll tell you what, the weather today, not bad. It is a little windy out there, but we managed to sneak in some sunshine. We've got a mainly clear sky out there. A little bit of cloud cover now leaving our eastern counties, but we look good and surprisingly green coming off of that historic ice storm we had just a couple weeks ago. It's the cedar trees that can survive, right? Those things would survive a nuclear blast. Lorenz 360 camera bouncing a little bit. Reason being the winds. 60s. The wind coming out of the south, gusting 20 to 30 miles per hour. These winds get worse. Why? There's a cold front coming in tonight. So these nice, comfortable 70s and 80s we have this afternoon that we had yesterday, they're gone by the time we wake up tomorrow. We're in the 70s and 80s at this hour, with the hill country actually a little bit warmer than the rest. You guys got the sunshine first earlier this afternoon, so your temperature is a little bit warmer. As far as where the numbers are going this evening, we're eventually going to be in those lower 70s by 7 o'clock. On our way to the 60s around 8, 9, and 10. Those 60s then fall to the 40s overnight behind the front. So what are we looking at here? Well, this front's got some impact with winds, temperatures, and even a little bit of rain with it. I'll time that out for you. The wind and the fire danger will be the focus, though, as we transition into tomorrow. And then some cold mornings to follow. I'll tell you when to expect that near widespread freeze. It's coming up in your first warning forecast.
All right, Kristen, thank you very much. The management of Club Q, the site of a deadly mass shooting in November, announced plans to rebuild and reopen later this year. The Colorado Springs LGBTQ venue said it will feature a permanent tribute to those killed in the attack. The announcement comes nearly 3 months after a gunman opened fire in the club, killing 5 people and also injuring 17 others.
A memorial is growing at Michigan State University after a gunman killed 3 students on campus Monday night. And today's classmates honored the 3, painting their names on the rock. That's a popular campus gathering spot. With classes canceled for the week, some parents came to pick their children up and bring them home.
We saw the tears started and we just hugged and held each other.
Do you feel safe?
And just a few miles away in the state's capital, people rallied and called for lawmakers to pass stronger gun laws.
Actress Raquel Welch has died at the age of 82. Her role in the 1966 film 1 Million Years BC shot her to international fame, and she won a Golden Globe in 1975 for her role in The Three Musketeers. Over the course of her career, she had more than 30 film and 50 television credits. She is survived by her 2 children.
The IRS needs some workers, and it's looking to hire them right here in Central Texas. Tomorrow, the agency will hold a hiring event in San Marcos as they look to fill about 400 positions.
If you want to try and get a job with the IRS, which is really a good place to work, just bring 2 forms of identification, your resume, and if you meet the qualifications, you may be offered a job on the spot.
And the positions are mostly entry-level clerk and tax examiner positions. And the agency says most of the spots don't require prior tax expertise. You can find out how to apply online at KXAN.com.
An Austin middle schooler had the chance to say thank you to the first responders who saved her life. In January, while playing soccer, Sabina Barrett collapsed on the field. She suffered cardiac arrest due to a coronary artery anomaly, which is the second leading cause of death in young athletes. She is now out of the hospital and on her way to a full recovery. And today she got a chance to meet the team of first responders who came together to save her life.
What we believe is that her heart had stopped and had gone into a terminal and typically fatal arrhythmia. At this point, what leads from that moment to this moment is when every single link in the chain of survival is intact.
And Sabina's story highlights the importance of early bystander CPR. If performed in the first few minutes of cardiac arrest, CPR can double or triple a person's chance of survival. The aviation system meltdown, near collisions on runways, and unidentified flying objects over U.S. airspace. What the acting FAA administrator has to say about all these troubles in the air.
And one of Central Texas's fastest growing cities seeing its traffic hit the brakes. The planning happening now to keep traffic flowing. And Kyle.
Close calls in the air and on the runway, a flight meltdown that left passengers stranded across the country, and those unidentified flying objects over North American airspace.
These are some of the reasons why the acting FAA administrator is now getting a grilling today on Capitol Hill about the safety of our nation's skies. NBC Alice Barr reports from Washington.
Millions of travelers every day count on the Federal Aviation Administration to keep flights running smoothly and safely. But a recent technical meltdown and a series of runway close calls have acting FAA Administrator Billy Nolan in the hot seat today.
Recent events remind us that we cannot and must not become complacent.
Senators grilling Nolan.
How can this happen?
over an incident this month in Austin, Texas, when a FedEx plane was forced to abort its landing to avoid colliding with a Southwest plane.
Southwest aboard. FedEx is on the go.
Last month at JFK Airport in New York,
Delta 1943, cancel takeoff clearance.
a Delta plane ordered to cancel takeoff after an American plane mistakenly taxied across the same runway. It all comes as Nolan for the first time publicly explained last month's computer glitch that grounded all domestic departures for the first time since 9/11, leaving millions stranded. The FAA working to replace an outdated pilot safety system that shut down when a contractor unintentionally deleted some software files. While there are new steps to shore up the system for now.
Could I sit here today and tell you there will never be another issue on the NOTAM system? No, sir, I cannot.
Senators also concerned about those unidentified flying objects, including the Chinese spy balloon the U.S. has shot down in recent days. Calls are growing louder for President Biden to offer more information to reassure Americans our skies are safe. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Well, the numbers are in. We saw a high temperature today of 81 degrees. Certainly warmer than that normal of 67. Not quite record breaking. Where that's coming off a morning in the 40s. We had that record was 8. That we set 2 years ago with that historic February 2021 storm. We're not talking ice, but we are talking near freezing temperatures in our future. I'll break down when you can expect the cold and what the winds look like coming up.
This KXAN News podcast is brought to you by Shelf Genie. I'm Rosie Newberry from KXAN Studio 512. Considering replacing your kitchen cabinets? Struggling to find or reach things? Go to shelfgenie.com/Austin. Shelf Genie designs custom pull-out shelves for your existing cabinets, adding convenience and value to the most used room in your home. Shelf Genie custom pull-out shelves, everything in reach.
The city of Kyle is planning for the future. It's developing a plan for the year 2030 to help navigate its continued growth.
And the city is asking people who live there for their input. KXAN's Sarah Alshay explains some of the top areas people think the city needs to focus on.
Kyle drivers are no strangers to traffic.
But the roads, our little country roads, still stay the same, and the traffic, obviously.
That's top of mind for people like Barbara Ortega.
They built all the homes there, which is great, but she just got this one road.
Ortega is one of many giving their input into the city's 2030 comprehensive plan.
Any development that happens inside a city needs a foundation, a plan on where it can develop, how it can develop, to make sure that it's being developed in an appropriate manner.
The City of Kyle's Director of Planning, William Atkinson, says they're getting feedback both in person at open houses like this one and online on a survey. The results from the first survey shows people put roads and infrastructure as the city's biggest opportunity to improve and its biggest challenge.
In 2020, the citizens of Kyle passed our $294 million road bond project. So we're working through that right now and getting those roads designed.
The city will take data from the surveys and use it to help create the comprehensive plan by October. Ortega says she's glad to be a part of the process and hopes to see more roads as the population grows.
They just need to be a little wider, a little safer.
Sarah Alsheh, KXAN News.
And taking a closer look at growth in the Hays County town. According to census data, 51,000 people lived in Kyle as of 2021. Compare that to 2010, when just 28,000 people lived there.
First warning weather with meteorologist Kristen Curry.
Let's talk about what's going on with your forecast late this afternoon, because we do have mainly clear skies across most areas. The clouds still hugging Fayette County, but in general, we're going to see mainly clear skies for the next few hours before the clouds come rushing back in. Here's a live look outside to you. Happy Wednesday, Granite Shoals. Whittlesey Landscape Supplies web camera showing a good shot of those blue skies, and our temperatures responding with that sunshine. 78 degrees right now with those south winds hitting us at 11 miles per hour. Our humidity at at 58%. You'll notice that everybody is very comfortable, a little warmer out west with more sunshine. 85 degrees. Mason, you're my warm spot right now, but everybody comfortable. And that temperature change right now is showing mainly a warming trend out west with this slightly cooler temperatures compared to 24 hours ago out east. And that's just because of that increase in cloud cover. But everything gets thrown out the window tonight with this cold front. Look at your next 24 hours. 60s by 9 o'clock tonight, getting down to the 40s tomorrow morning. And that's it. That's a pretty pathetic warm-up. The reason is a cold front coming in. So let's talk about it because there's a little bit of rain with it. But I'm going to be honest, this thing does not look wet. This is not going to be a game changer for us by any means. A couple little spotty showers out in front of it, mainly along and east of I-35. And that's it. Mixed sun and clouds behind it because this thing is moving quick. It's in and it's out. I'm not expecting a whole lot of rain for those who are lucky enough to see those itty bitty showers. It's a few hundredths of an inch. If we get lucky, a tenth of an inch. So it's not going to be anything I'm concerned about. I'm much more focused on the winds. Watch the winds coming out of the south this evening, lightening up just a little bit as we get into tonight. But then that cold front comes racing through by tomorrow morning. We're waking up to wind gusts at about 25 to 30 miles per hour. Here's the thing though. These winds, much different than today. Why? They're coming out of the north. That's a cold wind for us. So tomorrow is going to be one of those nasty days where we're just stuck underneath these north winds, and they get actually stronger towards the later part of the morning with wind gusts up to about 40, maybe even 45 miles per hour. We'll see if this triggers a wind advisory. We're certainly going to be close enough to that criteria. Bottom line, winds and fire danger concern for your Thursday. So please hold off on those outdoor burns and those open flame activities. We've got high fire danger in that yellow color, covers up almost all of our hill country. What's next? Well, this cold front's right now the only big weather maker I've got in the 7-day. This thing comes in tonight. By the time we hit tomorrow afternoon, a mix of sun and clouds, but still breezy. Then we get into Friday. Friday, we have a mix of sun and clouds, probably a little more sun than clouds on Friday, but then we flip that around to more clouds than sun on Saturday. Come Sunday, partly sunny, but much warmer. Our temperatures are going to respond. So the 7-day forecast is that 30% chance of some light rain tonight. Upper 50s tomorrow with the windy conditions. And yeah, we're even talking about a wind chill tomorrow with those winds in those 40s. Now Friday, 50s, a little lighter with the winds, more sunshine as we talked about for your weekend. Sunday's actually looking to be the better day. We do have a little bit of a breeze on Sunday, but your temperatures will be warmer in the 70s. Problem is, I was telling you about a near widespread freeze. That's going to come in Friday morning, and it's going to come in Saturday morning. So big heads up there. As we transition into the holiday on Monday, President's Day, 10% chance, a couple little spotty showers. I'm not convinced we're going to see a good amount of rain with this next storm system. Models keep bringing it a little too far to the north of us. So we'll just hope that cold front triggers a few more spotty storms and showers on Wednesday. That's why you see the uptick in our rain chance. Temperatures will come down from the 80s to the 70s. Overnight lows will be in the 50s.
The state's new funding for cancer research will look into efforts to bolster that research and better understand cancer in Texas.
Cancer research in Texas is getting a big funding boost. Today, the committee overseeing the state's Cancer Institute, known as CPRIT, approved $90 million in new grants to go toward research and prevention efforts all across Texas. Capitol correspondent Monica Madden explains what this will all go toward.
Since state leaders established CPRIT in 2007, it's been bolstering research and prevention at cancer centers across Texas. Now leaders say these grants are only going to further improve care for cancer patients across Texas.
We are finally moving from just purely academic research and maturing into the fields of prevention and also product development. If we can prevent one patient, one person, from dying from colon carcinoma with early detection, then the downstream savings are extraordinary.
These grants will fund 40 different projects at major research hubs in the state, including Houston to El Paso, as well as the Rio Grande Valley and more. According to CPRIT, the Rio Grande Valley has the nation's highest cancer incidence and death rate. So some of these grants are going to be dedicated to analyzing those health disparities and finding better treatment.
How can we equitably, in a fair manner, distribute cancer care across the state of Texas.
Now, this $90 million in grants is actually coming from state bonds that Texas voters approved back in 2007. So this funding project will not cost Texas taxpayers any additional dollars. In Austin, Monica Madden, back to you.
And tomorrow we'll learn Governor Greg Abbott's priorities for this legislative session when he gives his State of the State address. You can watch that right here at 7 o'clock Thursday on KXAN and KXAN.com.
Thanks for listening to KXAN News Nightly. You can also listen to KXAN News Today every morning for more in-depth coverage of what matters most to you.